Hi, I'm Amy Parsons, president of Colorado State University and host of the Next 150 podcast. We have so many remarkable people in our community, and this is where we're going to hear their stories. We're going to get their perspectives on CSU's next 150 years and gather their very best advice for today's CSU students. Let's get started, Rams. All right, well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of CSU's Next 150. We're back here in my office because we've got a full house this morning. Thank you all for being here. We're going to be talking about all things CSU throwing. So we've got Mya Lesnar, Michaela Hawkins over here, Gabi Morris, and Coach Bedard. So I'm excited to talk with all of you about your journeys. Thanks for being here. It makes me really happy to see you and to have some time with you this morning to talk about your journeys. So you guys ready to get started with the podcast? All right. Okay. Well, let's start with a little bit of an icebreaker. Coach Bedard, will you pick a little chip out of that bowl right there, please?
Am I supposed to, can I look at the number or no?
No.
Oh, okay. All right.
And just show it to me.
3.
Okay, so how we're going to start is you're all going to tell me one thing that you love about CSU. Start with you, Coach.
I've been here for over 40 years at Colorado State, both as an athlete and a coach. I love the location. I just love where we're, Colorado State is located up next to the Front Range with hiking, biking, fishing, camping, all the activities you can do. So I love the location.
All the things. What was your sport? What was your event?
I was a track and field athlete. Doug Max recruited me as a decathlete, and I figured out it was gonna be too much work. No, I love throwing the discus, and I literally told him, if I'm not good enough, you can cut me, but that's what I want to do. I want to throw the discus. And he said, okay. So that's kind of how I got started here.
That's great history. I love Doug Max
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
How are you, Len?
I'd have to say that I would agree with him. The location is super pretty. There's tons of things to do. But also I feel like the people here are really welcoming. I've made a lot of connections, and people are really nice here.
Yeah, I agree. Gabi?
Yeah, I mean, kind of similar, but I grew up here and had a bunch of family go to CSU. And,
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I feel really deeply connected to the community in Fort Collins and the community at CSU. So that's my favorite part.
I didn't know that about you. That's awesome.
Yeah, my grandfather was actually a professor here, and
Really?
my parents met here, and then I met my husband here.
Oh my gosh.
So
It's a tradition.
That's
It's a
such a great
tradition.
story.
Yeah.
I love that about you. And congratulations on getting married
Oh,
last year,
thank you.
by the way. Yeah. Michaela, how about
I would
you?
say for me, I love everyone's passion. Like my first few days here, like even on my recruitment tour, I was so overwhelmed in the best way by like everyone's passion. They were like such go-getters. Everyone wanted to go out and do things. I think I'm kind of related to the location and all the mountains and stuff, but everyone here just like has this passion for life.
Yeah.
And it's very noticeable compared to other places I've lived.
I love that. Well, you definitely live that, and I see that in all of you. It's been a privilege for me to get to know you, ladies, over the last couple of years, watch you compete, but watch just what leaders you've been on campus and what such great role models you are for CSU, and you really embody to me, I think, all the things that you just said that we all love about CSU. So let's talk a little bit about your amazing accomplishments athletically and in your field. Mya, I'll start with you and winning the indoor women's shot put national championship last year and being the NCAA champ. I just have to ask, what was that like for you to win and compete at that level last year?
Yeah, it was pretty incredible. I honestly, the year before, it was a pretty frustrating year. Nothing really seemed to click. We had a bunch of meetings about, nothing's going right. I don't know what to do. Like kind of just on the panic button. And then I took that summer to, I took that summer to really like dial it in and take some time off and really dial like not just the physical part of it, but the mental side of this sport in. And just bought in more and trained really hard and worked my butt off. And it was really, really cool to see everything fall together.
Yeah. Well, whatever you did, obviously, it all fell into place at that moment. Yeah. Can you share a little bit more about how you dialed that in mentally? Because I have to imagine that's such a huge part of what you all do in your sport. It comes down to just a few seconds and all of that work. Yeah. How do you go about training for that?
I think for me, it was really focusing on like visualization and like putting myself in those positions, and I like seeing myself do it and seeing myself win, because I think like visualizing is so important for sports in general, but especially, track and field. So yeah. And making and telling putting myself in those positions and making a dream a reality. So
Yeah. What lessons, now that you've got some time between winning the national championship and now, what lessons did you learn from that you're pulling forward into your training today as you look ahead?
I think a big thing we always talk about is consistency and finding those consistent throws that are going to put you in position to win or to be in position to do really big things and in PR or have special days. So yeah.
Well, congratulations again.
Thank you.
Everyone was just so excited and so proud of you to win that. It's really a feather in your cap, and Colorado State and coach and the program. So
thank you. Yeah.
Exciting.
Thank you.
Gabby, let's talk about you. You had an incredible run at the outdoor championships last year, runner-up in the shot put, personal best record out there. Talk to us about that experience and what it was like to have the biggest throw of your career on the biggest stage.
Yeah, I think similar to Mya and like a lot of people in track that have success stories, it starts with a sort of a struggle first, and then you figure it out and learn how to move on through that and figure out what works for you mentally to prepare for your competitions. And right before some of the bigger meets of outdoor, we'd sort of started figuring out some cues and more technical cueing that worked for me. And then because I had not had the indoor that I wanted beforehand, it was very freeing so that when I went to outdoor, there was nothing to lose and there was no pressure. And so it was really nice to go just be able to compete with freedom and no fear and just go after whatever it took. And so to PR there was amazing. And to get runner up to the NCAA record holder was really cool. Like it's not a national championship, but it's
amazing.
It close as, it feels so really, really cool anyways. And to have I think a big thing is that Mya and I pushing each other every day is really a huge part of our success. To have two of the best shot putters in the country at the same university is pretty special and creates, sets us up for some pretty cool things.
Yeah, that's really special. I'll cue off of that and ask Coach Bedard what that's like to have two of the best shot putters in the country, how you use that to make them both better at what they do.
They're so competitive anyway. I don't pit them against each other or anything like that. They're competitive enough. I don't need to do that. But they help just kind of raise the level for everybody that trains with them, I think. You just see things go far and see things in the weight room that I think inspires the rest of the group. Okay, that's how we do things here. That's what I need to do, so they're just good modeling for the rest of the group. So I appreciate what they bring that way. Again, they hold themselves to such a high standard and they're so tough on themselves. I oftentimes have to put things in perspective for them. Hey, you're doing a really good job. And I'm not throwing far. I'm not doing. Yeah, but this is what you are doing. Yeah. These are the great things you are doing. So I have to remind them of that and pull a tape measure out once in a while and convince them. Okay,
that feels like a daily conversation.
I am doing a little better than I thought. So, you just have some really driven people that are really hard on themselves too. So, my role with them is not necessarily the motivation side of it, but it's give perspective and reassurance that, hey, you're doing some really good things. Our training's on track. You're going to be just fine. Yeah. With some other people, I may have to, kick them in the bottom a little bit, get them going and motivate them. But these guys don't have to do that.
They walk in with it every day.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, Michaela, as these two were doing their thing with the shot put, you were making waves out there in discus, and you placed 6th at nationals, earned first-team All-American honors for the first time in your career. Talk to us about your journey and what that meant to you.
It was quite the journey. I did my first 2 years of track at a different school and then transferred here. And I chose here because of Coach Bedard.
And me.
It being, in my personal opinion, the best discus program in the country. That was what drew me. But coming here, I thought, okay, I'm just, being at the best discus program in the country, it's just going to happen to me. I'm just going to be good. It's just going to, and I learned the hard way that it doesn't just happen to you. I was working through a lot of fear of failure. I was working through like, oh, what if I put in all this effort and nothing comes of it? It's going to be the most devastating thing. So maybe I'm just not going to put in my everything and see what happens. That was my first 2 years here. And I had this awakening. The year before this past competition season, I watched my friends go to nationals without me. And that was a blow. That was, really hard. So that same day, I was like, no, I refuse to let that happen my last year. And worked on committing myself, and I had to work on it every single day. But that was the biggest part of the journey, is like learning that I can let go of, whatever happens, and just worry about me, worry about the effort that I'm putting in and how I'm showing up every day. And was amazed to see that when you put the effort in, good things do happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, those are lessons that will carry you for the rest of your
For
life,
sure.
I think, in whatever you do. I mean, I have to imagine that you're all learning lessons that are making you successful as students, as professionals going forward. I mean, talk to us a little bit about that. How do you see this translating your athletic success and that level of discipline to what you want to do in your professional careers after college?
Sorry, do you want to go?
No, you're good.
I very much feel that. I feel like in my first few years of track, I was just doing track separate and my life separate. They were very separate pieces. But once I started really thinking about how I want to approach the track season and competition, and started thinking about it all the time and committing myself, I realized just how much it translated in my life. Like now when I do things that I don't want to do, things that are scary or things that I'm worried about getting rejected, I'm like, no, like I don't want to walk away having any regrets or knowing that I didn't put everything in. So I'd say the more I put into track, the more I notice things come out in like my outside life, which is why I decided I want to continue this professionally.
Yeah, I mean, I think just that like being an athlete is more than doing a sport or doing something athletically. It's a mindset that you take in your entire life, and it's the way you approach everything you do. And track and field is especially unique in that there's a level of accountability, I think, because I also played soccer here, and so I was a goalkeeper, and a goalkeeper has a level of accountability higher than, like you get scored on and it's your fault basically. But track and field, you still have, in soccer at least, 10 players in front of you that you can, blame or like help with the accountability there. In track and field, it is a team sport, and you still get to have that aspect of working with teammates on a daily basis and learn those lessons, but you also have a higher level of accountability that every meet and every throw you have is nothing but you. It is a direct reflection of the preparation you've put in and the work you've put in. And so to have that, and then to also have the just repeated considered failure, like we know that anytime you don't throw near to your PR or a PR, most track athletes would be disappointed on that day, which is a crazy concept that you have to be at your best or better at a new best every single time you compete, but that's how we think of it. And so to face that sort of perceived failure on a regular basis, and it helps, like Michaela said, like help you lose that fear of failure, and you have a better mindset going forward, and more bravery in what you do in every day, as well as, like I said, just emphasizing the accountability of your preparation and all those things, so that there's no like scapegoat in your regular life. And so, yeah.
That's so insightful. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, to go off of that, I think I try to look at track and field as like yes, I want to get all these awards. I want to do all these great things for the school, and to do it alongside like great athletes like, Michaela and Gabi. But I think I also know that there's more to life than just track and field, and I try really, really hard to not like walk around and think of myself as just a mark or a national champion. Like I'm more than that. I'm a human. I'm not a robot. Like I fail too. I have bad practices. I have bad meets. Things don't line up for me too. Like, so I think everyone likes to assume that I have it all together, and I don't, that's the fun part about life, is that like no one has it figured out, and I think that's cool. But I've learned so many life lessons that I'll take with me forever, and I'm grateful for that.
Let's talk about last June when you all competed in the Olympic trials. I want to hear what that was like for you. It was so exciting for all of us to know that you're there and to watch you in the trials. Just what was that experience like? start with you.
Yeah, I think for me, it was a very long season. I had hit the qualifying mark in, when did I hit it? Pretty early on in the season.
In the winter.
Yeah.
December.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, December.
Yeah, it was your first meet.
Right. Okay. So first meet. Yeah. So December.
In the indoor season.
Yes. So like months before, and I didn't really even comprehend what that even meant, right? Because I had had such a bad season before, wasn't throwing near as far as these elite athletes in the world, and then suddenly I do, and everything was coming together, and I was like, what does this mean? I have no idea. So to be put in that position was pretty cool. But yes, it was a very long season. It was a cool experience for me. Didn't do as well as I wanted to, but I don't think that was what I took away from it. I think now I know what it's like. I know what the atmosphere is like. Yeah, I think it was just a complete learning experience for me, and now I know what to do for 2028.
For next time.
Yeah.
Amazing. What was it like for you two?
You can start if you'd like.
Yeah. One, it was so cool to go with like two of my closest friends in life. I mean, truly, like, I don't know, all the odds of the three of us going together and not one of us getting left behind. And that part was really cool. Also super cool. I felt like we really had the support of the school, and I really appreciated, like, everyone was backing us up here, and people would stop and ask me, oh my gosh, how are you feeling about it? Like, you excited? And just all the hype was really, really cool. We really appreciated that, so thanks. Yeah, it was amazing. It was super inspiring to meet so many athletes from not just throwers, but I talked to so many athletes outside of throwing that were just so driven, and it was really overwhelming in the best way.
Yeah.
And for me, I always walk the balance of like, I'm someone who likes to take in the little moments in life, so being there, I wanted to do the best that I could, but I also didn't want it to overshadow just being in the present moment and realizing I've made it here, like enjoy it. I didn't want to go by without, thinking I haven't even enjoyed this, So I worked to do that, and I also wanted to do better, but I talked to so many of the athletes who was their second or third time around, and they were like, oh, like, girl, like our first time, it's just a learning experience. And we do plan on being back there. So it's really good practice. And it was a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, like they both said, it's something that's, we all in college, like as a college athlete, you start in, like Mya said, December. Once you're a professional, like you won't start your outdoor season till probably May or later. And so there's months and months more of training and trying to be at that peak longer than anybody else was. And so to extend it all the way through the end of July is really difficult. But I will say the biggest thing to me is, like, I think that, as Michaela said, I love that we got to go as like three best friends. Not only is it unlikely that one school will have three athletes or one school will have three athletes in the same sort of event group, but just to have three athletes that are so close, and like that made it incredibly special. And then it really embodied, like we talk about it a lot within the three of us, and it's something to take away into life, is like track is beautiful again and unique as a sport, is that when, I always relate it back to soccer. I hate talking about soccer, but when I was a goalie, there was one goalie on the field. So my two friends who were goalies with me, they didn't get to play when I played, or I didn't get to play when they played. The beautiful part about track is that, like, one of us doing well doesn't take away an opportunity from someone else. And so it's really amazing to be able to push ourselves and each other and have our success sort of drive one another constantly without bringing anybody down and having that sort of toxic aspect of the competition. And so I've always appreciated track for that, and I think that's what sort of set us up, as well as Coach Bedard's coaching and culture on his team that he's created, and CSU culture added to the opportunity that we had to have the three of us go and be supportive of one another. And like, unfortunately, I wasn't competing in the discus with Michaela, but we did support her there. But like, to throw with Mya in the finals at the Olympic trials, like, and to be able to turn around and go talk to my teammate who I train with on a daily basis, that's like incredibly special. You don't feel quite so alone. It's just amazing to have your best friends there with you at every time.
That's amazing perspective. And are you all three looking forward to 2028?
Yeah, that's the goals.
Yeah, that's the goal at this point.
Yeah.
How does that drive you now in sort of your day-to-day and your training and whatever, knowing that that's the next horizon for you?
It feels a little extra real since we both since all three of us have been to the Olympic trials,
Yeah.
I think before it's like, oh, one day I dream of that. But it's like, no, it's
real.
tangible. It's
Yeah.
very tangible. And I think that is really cool. Like, it's like, no, this feels very real. It's a little extra added pressure in a good way, but also it just feels like it's just within reach, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, you think of where we were 4 years ago, you know, massively different. Like, they were at different schools. I was still playing soccer. I had a knee surgery. Like, we all have come so far in the last 4 years. To think of where we'll be in the next 4 years and the incredible things we can do between now and then is really exciting. And then again, to be able to ideally do it together and have that, you know, camaraderie would be really cool.
Like me and Gabby were, you know, one of the youngest people in the final, in the shot put competition at trials. So, you know, the girl who won it was 30 years old, you know, I'm 22. So talk about experience, right? So come 4 years, you know, 2028, I can't imagine the amount of consistency and experience I'm going to gain in those 4 years.
And muscle.
Yeah. So I think we're all looking forward to that. And like Michaela said, like, you know, first time there, now we know what it's like. We got that out of the way. And yeah, I think 2028 will be our years.
And Bedard can look forward to 4 more years of.
Yeah, he's incredibly happy about that.
It's like we're freshmen all over again.
Coach Bedard, all these athletes talk about coming to work with you here and the culture that you've built here.
Oh.
How is it different or special with this particular group of throwers?
Well, they're talented. That helps. I don't coach a whole lot different than I have, you know, over the years, but a lot of it's who you have in the program and kind of what they bring and their commitment. So, I mean, I feel blessed to have these guys all in, and they're talented. I mean, and then they uplift their teammates. So it makes it easy. I can just sit back and
Oh, yeah. I'm sure.
sleep through practice. So, pretty basic philosophy that we just stick with every day. And you got to earn your opportunities, and you got to, you know, serve the team and put the team first, and check your ego at the door. You know, get to work. So pretty simple stuff, but we try to maintain that every day at practice.
Pretty simple stuff, but you've built a really remarkable program. I mean, you've, you know, built teams that consistently compete at the highest levels. You've led CSU to 22 Mountain West team championships.
Is it that many?
Yep. Coached athletes to 194 individual conference titles, 85 All-American honors. So you've built a really remarkable program over a very long period of time. Talk about how you create that consistent winning culture over all those years.
Communicate our goals and our, you know, what's important to us on the team, our culture, our values, all that. Communicate the heck out of it. And that's in the recruiting process with the recruits we're looking at and their parents. And this is how we do things here at CSU. It's not going to be different when you get here. So I spell it all out. Our coaches do the same thing. We're just very clear communication about that. We don't put on a Vegas show. When kids come on recruiting visits, this is who we are. This is Colorado State. This is how we do things. And if it feels like a good fit, then that's how it's going to be when you get here. And then hire great staff. You know, I got to have staff that kind of believe in what we're doing. Here to serve the team, life coaches, student athletes, are passionate about our student athletes and making them better. Yeah. So some coaches don't want to life coach anymore. It's too hard. You know? But it's part of it. And I hear coaches these days, we're not into life coaching anymore. We don't have time for that. I'm like, that doesn't make sense to me. Mm-hmm. So there's still that element too.
I would say that made the biggest difference. Is like technically, I don't know, the coaching, I needed that, but it was really about the mental, you know, preparation for competition. That's what changed for my last year, and talking through that with him. I have some like key moments thinking back, like where we had some hard discussions, and it wasn't anything related to technical things with throwing.
But I think, I was going to say that I think we've all had those moments, and I think most of the successful athletes that you'll talk to has had those moments too. And like Bedard was saying with the life coaching, part of that stuff builds the trust with Coach Bedard, so that when he is hard on you, you know it's in your best interest, and you know that he's got your back, and it's not just a coach being a jerk to you. And so it's the trust that really is built there in those moments that helps you. So when he's hard on you later, you take it seriously, and then you do get better.
Well, it's working.
Well, I challenge him. I'm not that. But I mean, I think you have the biggest growth through your biggest failures. I mean, but if you're not willing to look at that and humble yourself to look at those failures, and you want to kind of ignore it or not digging into why that happened, I don't think you grow. So we look at the failures and it's okay, now how do we get better? Otherwise, we're going to repeat that. So they got to be vulnerable to do that.
Well, in addition to being elite athletes and some of the best in the country, you're also students, right, at CSU, and have had your own academic journeys as students. Talk to us a little bit about your academic journey in addition to your athletic journey. What have you enjoyed studying? What do you see for your future outside of throwing?
Sure. So I'm on, as Bedard likes to call it, the 7-year plan. I have a business degree concentrating in computer information systems, and then I am almost done with my computer science degree, and I'm getting a master's certificate in business administration. So I have had a little bit of a taste of like at least 2 different colleges at CSU. Personally, nothing against CS. CS is fun. It's a passion of mine, but I loved the College of Business here. We're one of the top business schools in the country for a reason. And I would like to take that on into life and go do hopefully some sort of sports analysis in a tech company or event management with, something like OnForm or a similar company. So it's been a lot of school here as well as the sports.
Yeah. That's great.
I wasn't sure I was even going to go to college, and without track I wouldn't have, but I'm really glad I did. I graduated with my degree in psychology, and I hope to do an accelerated nursing program once professional track is done.
Okay.
I'm very passionate about people and medical things, but I would say as much as I didn't like college my first few years, I was just growing and learning how to be a student. My last 3 years at CSU, I felt like, wow, I actually really like college. Like, I'm so happy to walk away. Everyone walks away like, oh, I have all these friends and the college experience, and I had never felt that till I came here. And just the people, everyone was so welcoming, and I felt like, oh, this is a home to me. And
so
I was so glad to walk away with that, because I was like, how am I not getting that? So yeah.
You cheese ball. That was cute.
And all these crazy girls. They might have something to do with that.
They might. I think they do.
And like Michaela, I did not really want to go to college. It wasn't really something I had in mind. I actually wanted to join the military. But I was like, I think I want to do this track thing. I want to try it out, see where it goes. And I'm glad I did. But like Michaela too, I've created so many relationships and networks with people in college, and I don't know, I think it's been really good for me, and I'm glad I chose this path. But I'm not sure what I want to do after with my degree. I'll be graduating with a sociology degree. But yeah,
You don't have your life all figured out yet?
No.
At the ripe
I
age of
don't.
22.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still don't either. I'm just trying out this coaching thing.
Trying it out. Yeah.
For 30 plus years,
They're
just
never
trying
letting
it
you
out.
Still trying to figure it out.
Still trying to figure it out. Well, we're so glad that you all chose CSU, first of all, and that you've had this great academic and athletic experience at CSU. I know CSU Ram Nation will be so excited to follow your careers. Over the next 4 years, we'll all be cheering you on into the Olympic trials, and we're just so proud of you, so proud of Coach Bedard and what you've built here at CSU. It's really a point of pride for CSU, and that sustained success is really unusual. And that's really a testament to your great coaching.
It's been easy. No, it's been a great journey. And again, it's the staff you put in place and then the athletes you recruit. If you got everybody buying in, it makes things a lot easier. So it's obviously not a one-man show by any means. So
Yeah. Well, you all have gained so much wisdom in so many ways. You've shared a lot of that with us today, both athletically, what you've learned about yourselves, what you've learned about competition, working as a team and friendship and all of that. Think a little bit with us about what advice you would give to new students just coming into CSU, or maybe young athletes just starting on their journey, deciding whether or not this is for them. what advice would you have? I always end these talks with advice for CSU, because student success ultimately is our number one priority at CSU, and students can really learn from your journeys. So anybody want to share what advice you might have for students who are just starting out?
Sure. I'd say for me, I'm a pretty impatient person.
No.
And I think throughout the years, I wish I would have been more patient when I was a freshman and when I was younger, and really, took it all in and then just been patient and just let everything, come together, because it does, if you let it happen. And I don't know, just networking, like really getting to know people, getting to know your professors, really getting to know like your coaching staff, talking to people, not just being closed-minded and being like, I'm just gonna get advice from this one person because they gave me really good advice. I mean, there are a lot of people here who care about you and want you to be successful. Yeah.
That's good advice.
For me, it's not stuff I already said earlier in the podcast, but I think not being afraid to fail for me was the biggest thing, and also not just thinking things are going to happen. If things aren't, if you don't like the way your life is, if you don't like the way certain things are, you can change that. You have the power to change that, and everyone tells you that, but it never had clicked till I really thought about it, until I had hit, the lows. I was like, wow, this is, because of choices I made earlier. So yeah, I'm going to change this. I'm going to really work to change this. And I don't want to have any regrets. I don't want to leave CSU being like, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have, talked to these people. I wish I would have, so yeah, being willing to just let go of the future and let go of, what you think your supposed path is, and put your effort in the present. And I think the consistency of like waking up and every day choosing it. It's not just like this one time you make this one big decision and then you're, done. Yeah. It's the every day in the little moments choosing, how am I being a D1 athlete right now? How am I, making choices that are going to lead to where I want to be, would be that. And then also, like Mya said, the relationships with people. I think I'm really driven by close connections with people. I would never want to be in a program where I don't have a really close relationship with the coach, where I don't trust him and he trusts me. Yeah. And then same with my teammates. And even with my professors, I want to get to know them. I want to have a personal relationship. And that helps me, get my drive. Yeah.
You guys, I shouldn't have let you guys go first. There's nothing left. No, I think step one is because we're talking to new CSU students, right? Yeah. So step one is you've made a great choice by coming to CSU. Yes. I'm biased because I'm from here, but I love Fort Collins, and I think I took it for granted a little bit growing up and not going to all the stuff that Fort Collins has, but there's so many things you can do and opportunities to go have fun and like they said, make connections and all these things, and CSU especially puts on those, and with, I've been here a long time, so I can see that the change that since you've been president has been in the right direction too, and so take advantage of that. Buy in. I think basically you guys summed it up pretty well, but buy in, go after it. Don't be afraid to take chances. Take take full advantage of everything that CSU has to offer, because it has to offer a lot for us.
That's a lot of wise advice. Coach Bedard, I want to give you the last word, because you've been giving students advice for a couple of decades now.
Yeah, and I think Michaela kind of hit on some things, but, I talked to the team about this quite a bit, is full commitment. Don't compartmentalize your commitment level. Well, I'm going to work really hard at this, but this is harder for me, so I'm going to kind of skip out on that, or I'm not going to do this very well. But go all in, invest yourself completely, have no regrets, So that's the big, and that's not just with athletics, that's anything you do. Yeah. I think my biggest regrets when I look back is, I didn't give my best there. I didn't go all in. I'm better than that. And of course I can't go back and change that, but looking forward, that's the mindset you want to have.
Second best chance. Second best time to do it is now, right?
He's all in for coaching.
Yeah.
All in.
Yeah.
Well, that's great advice. And I just want all of you to know just how proud Ram Nation is of you and how grateful we are that you're part of our community, and just can't wait to continue to support you on your journeys. And thanks, Coach, for what you do and what you'll continue to do for CSU.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having us.
You all represent the best of CSU. So
Thank you.
go Rams. Stalwart Rams right there. All right. Thank you for listening. I'm Amy Parsons, president of Colorado State University, and you're listening to CSU's The Next 150, where we explore what comes next for CSU by chatting with change makers who are already leading the charge and shaping our next 150 years. I'm gathering their very best advice for today's CSU students. Stay tuned to wherever you get podcasts for our next outstanding conversation. Go Rams!